Good morning, everybody. Yes, we're doing this reboot. We've been online for like 5 minutes with Instagram and TikTok, but we've been waiting till 9 o'clock on the dot to hit go on the big box. What's the big box? That's the folks who are watching by YouTube, Twitch, LinkedIn, Facebook, and Twitter. So, quick little introduction. My name is Sean Shapiro. I'm a police constable with the Toronto Police Service here in Toronto, Canada. Toronto, Ontario, Canada. We'll do the whole spiel. And I go live on social media answering your traffic and police questions. It's one of the things I do, but it's not the only thing that I do. That being said, I do enjoy what I do. What are we doing this morning? We're going to answer your traffic and police questions for a full hour from 9 to 10. This is not our regular show time. It was our regular show time once upon a time, and we actually have a poll going on right now on TikTok asking if this is the best time. Would you prefer 9 o'clock or 10 o'clock? We have the technology. We could do either or, but we want to do what's best for you, the audience. We don't want to switch back and forth. Today we're 9 o'clock because I have to go off-site. I'm going to the Toronto Police College. I'm going to see a demonstration of some new technology. I'm going to bring you along with me. I'm going to take some video. Well, no, you're not coming with me, but I don't know if I'll go live from there. What I will do is film a whole bunch of content and share it with you. So that's going to be later today. If you are used to the show, then you know you can ask us questions on the Q&A function in Instagram. You used to be able to answer or ask us questions on the Q&A function on TikTok. It's broken. It has been for about 3 months now. No response. We asked lots of questions. We're not getting any responses. In any case, you can use the chat. We have magical people in the chat who are trying to help me out by forwarding the questions to me. That works pretty well. We're also, able to read now and again some chat. But there is a solution to have more organized questions, and you can use not TikTok. You can use Volley app, which is something you can get to by visiting trafficcop.ca. You can also get the link in our bio. There's a link tree that'll take you to the Volley app as well. In any case, that will take you to Volley app. Volley app will let you ask questions. You can send me video, voice, or text in which way you would like to. And we have an alarm test. I'm going to mute you guys for a second, save you the pain.
You can play the jam. Thanks.
Driving safely helps the traffic flow. Watch for pedestrians, look out for bikes, and don't drive like a jerk that no one likes. Yellow light, red light, green light, go. Driving safely is the way to go. Put down your cell phone, nobody needs you to text and drive on the DVP. Yellow light, red light, green light, go. Stop at stop signs, look both ways, then go. Seatbelt, save your life indeed. And watch your driving, don't speed. Yellow light, red light, green light, go. Driving safely is the way to go. Don't drink and drive or smoke some weed because you
The alarm just stopped.
Go to jail and not get free. Yellow light, red light, green light, go.
Morning, Sean. Morning, Jeff. Morning, Rob. Morning, Chase. Morning, Steven. We might listen to this song a few times because I have a feeling they're going to test this sequence, then they're going to change the faster beep or check and test the faster beep. So this might happen a couple times, and we'll fill in the blank spaces with that song because I love it, and it's a good idea. Thanks, Q, for the suggestion. All right, what do we got here? All right, I was in the midst of saying you can go to trafficcop.ca to ask questions in our Q&A section in our Volley space. It's awesome. It works really well. You should do that. Now, that also applies to anyone watching on Twitter. Unfortunately, putting comments in our Twitter, it does not work. It does not send it to us. So we won't know you're speaking to us. Definitely use the Volley app for that benefit or to get that benefit. You can also ask questions like the night before a live and be in the queue for the next day. So there's benefits to being in our community. Our community is very small right now. We have about 70 people. Yep, 70 people. I just double checked. Okay, quick business that I have to take care of, and then we can get into your questions. It's August 11th, and our Vision Zero enforcement team is in the city doing work. Well, they do work all the time, but I'm going to tell you exactly where they are so you can avoid them, or at least avoid meeting them. They're currently in 31 Division and 42 Division, which include the neighborhoods of Black Creek, Humbermead, Glenfield, Downsview, Malvern, Agincourt, Milliken, Rouge, Scarborough kind of area. They're all over the city, but they're focused there today. Why? Because big brain people have told them that that is the place that needs attention today. They look at stats, they put us or put them where they need to be. But what is this Vision Zero enforcement team? What do? They hand out tickets, not hugs. They are out there investigating Highway Traffic Act violations. They are looking for people specifically speeding, driving aggressively, distracted, or impaired. Those are the things that lead to serious injury and death more often than not, and those are the things that they focus their time on. They're trying to make the road safer for everybody, folks. That's what they do. So if you don't want to meet them, don't break the law. That's the easiest, because as much as I say they're only there, that's not the only group of people issuing tickets in the city. The answer is don't drive dangerously, don't put people at risk, and then you won't have problems. Okay, going to have a quick look at Instagram, see what the question is here. It says, no questions yet. Why is it lying to me? It said there was questions. Maybe it was deleted. Okay. Q has put up some questions for me here in the private chat that I'm looking at. What is this? Oh, you're on my first route driving school? I'm not sure if that's a question or a statement. I guess it's just a statement. But yes, you're on driving school, and awesome. I think you're just telling me that you're going to driving school, and you're listening on the way. Hopefully you're not driving while you're listening. We have
video of you at their driving school.
Oh, now I understand. Yes. Yeah, I've heard that a number of driving schools are using our content to teach, which is awesome. That's great. And if you're a driving school and you are using our information, please reach out. We'd love to know who's using the content, how you're using the content, which content you find most beneficial, and what content you think is lacking and you would like more information on, because we're happy to help. That's what we do. People helping people. That's the whole thing. Where are the... Oh, here we go. Kevin Pierce wants to know, he's coming in from YouTube, where are the e-bikes allowed to drive? I see them everywhere. Bike lanes, sidewalks, roads, wrong way, everywhere. Okay, the answer is bike lanes, if they are e-bikes that are pedelec, that require pedaling in order to operate, they can be basically anywhere a bicycle can. If you're talking about an e-bike that is capable of being operated by way of throttle, then they can only be operated in bicycle lanes, share lanes, or on the road, and not on cycle tracks. That is something that many people don't realize or understand, and that's a problem because many people are using them illegally or incorrectly. If they're capable of going more than 32 kilometers an hour, they are not e-bikes. Doesn't matter what they are. If they're capable of combined speed over 32 kilometers an hour on a flat surface, that's a problem. That becomes a motorcycle. Now, I'm talking about the throttle kind, because I don't think pedelecs fall into that. I don't think. Because you can pedal a pedal bike faster than 32 kilometers an hour if you are so inclined. Now, sidewalks, no e-bikes can be on sidewalks, period. In fact, if you are over the age of 13, being 14 or older, you're not allowed to be on the sidewalk with a bicycle of any kind, pedal or otherwise. And wrong way down a one-way, that's against the law. You cannot do that unless there is a lane specified for contraflow, flow contrary to opposite. There's one-way roads for cars that have a specifically designated lane for contraflow bicycles, which is kind of cool. Now, I think I've covered all your questions. If there's more that you need to know, or if I've missed something that you were looking for, please let me know. Steven says, no questions, but I would love to meet you someday. You know what? That I'm sure that'll happen because we're doing more and more stuff out in the wild, being out and about in the city. And that's the thing. So we're at the Honda Indy, and there'll be more and more opportunities to come out and meet up with us. But we will talk about it here before it happens, so you get news and can plan your life around us. Sean Chen says, I thought it was 15 for biking on the sidewalks. Well, Sean, you were wrong. Oh, we might lose our entire internet connection, which will really only apply to the folks on, it won't affect TikTok. So if we happen to lose everything, I'm warning you now, we might have interruptions. And isn't it great that we have interruptions and can't do anything about it? Yeah. Generator is going to kick in. We might lose some contact. The folks that are on, it'll probably be our audio that we lose. Anyway, we're going to continue until things change and then come back. So if we lose you, then we'll be back as soon as we can. Boy, I picked the wrong day to start at 9 o'clock, didn't I? Okay. That was for... Spencer says that was for MVC reports. What was for MVC reports? I see a question, but there's no context. I don't know what you're talking about, Spencer. What do we have here? Safety first. Oh, apparently somebody inside of the chat on TikTok is endorsing dangerous activity. Is that right? What kind of? I don't want to even know what the dangerous activity is. But please don't endorse stupidity or dangerous activity. It's not okay. Okay, if we see dangerous driving on the highway, phone 911. Well, if you think it's dangerous driving that is going to result in someone's imminent injury, think that this person is going to hurt somebody, themselves or others, yeah, 911 is appropriate. It's an emergency. They could be drunk. They could be having a medical episode. We don't know what's going on inside the car, and notifying police is the appropriate thing to do. You're also exempt from the handheld communication law when calling 911. If you're calling for an emergency and you're telling us something, that's what it's for. So you can actually pick up your phone and dial without concern. Rules for driving a retired service car. I mean, you mean police car. It can't say police on it. You can't identify or represent yourself as a police officer, but there's no real rules about it. No lights, no sirens, things like that. Yeah, what kind of rules are you looking for? Okay, a quick question. Friend got a ticket in Pennsylvania, in USA, speeding on semi. Okay, that's not a question yet.
Does it show up on the Ontario record?
I don't think they have a reciprocal agreement, but it doesn't mean that they won't report. I've had various things that in New York, Michigan, those states have a direct connection to us. They do have a. Did I say New York and Michigan? They have a direct reporting. I don't know if Pennsylvania will, but the truth is, you'll find out real soon, or they will. How much slower than the max posted speed limit can you travel in ideal road conditions? How much slower? It's what's reasonable. So if you're in the passing lane and you're not doing the speed limit, you should not be in that lane. And some people probably you could be pulled over and charged for unnecessary slow driving. If you're in a lane other than the passing lane, which by the way is a name we give it. It's really lane 1 is what it is. Passing lane or fast lane, as many people nickname it, it's a nickname. It's not an official title. And although we say faster or slower moving traffic move to the right, unless it's signed, it's not enforceable for that purpose. But if you are obstructing traffic or unnecessarily obstructing traffic, not obstructing, what did I say the word was? There's a word there that's exited my vocabulary for the moment. In any case, you could be charged for unnecessary slow driving, and the threshold is probably about 20 kilometers an hour. There's no posted or clear line in the sand of what that is. Impeding, that's the word I'm looking for. So if you're doing 20 under and you're in the right lane, the curb lane, I don't see any reason to lay a charge on that. That's not unreasonable. You don't have to do the maximum. It's the maximum for a reason, because it's the maximum. Now, the people doing over the maximum, they're speeding, even if it's 1 kilometer over. And I'd be more inclined to give that person a ticket than the person who's doing under by a small margin. Okay. Stephen Bell says, tell Q I say hi. I can hear her at times. Yes, she is online and in my ear and yours too. Okay, apparently I'm losing my voice today. If I move my car in my driveway, do I still need my license? Like physically on your person? On your driveway, you can't be ticketed whether you are licensed or simply don't have it on your person. So the HTA is not enforceable for that charge on your driveway. However, if you were stunt driving on your driveway, we could charge you. Can you go through a red light to make way for an emergency vehicle? No, you're not permitted to. You have to. The only people who can go through a red traffic signal are fire, police, and ambulance with their full emergency equipment activated. Can electric scooters run on the sidewalk? Electric scooters, like e-kick scooters? No. And they're not even allowed in the city of Toronto. No sidewalks, no parks, no streets, no nothing. They're prohibited vehicles in Toronto. They also have a whole bunch of rules. Now, in different jurisdictions, they may be permitted because there are jurisdictions that allow them. Mississauga, I believe, is one of them. Now, I don't know if they allow them on the sidewalk. That's a different story. I thought I heard an announcement. Who is at fault if someone brake checks me in Ontario? I see too many answers in Google. Well, you may be following too close if you are rear-ending somebody in a brake check situation. However, while you might also be responsible partially for rear-ending somebody, the person who brake checks you for no reason is potentially conducting or engaging in a criminal activity because they're intentionally trying to cause a collision. That could be for many reasons, whether they're just trying to, create an insurance scam or trying to be aggressive because they're dealing with some kind of mental health issue or aggression issue. So brake checking is not legal. At very least, it can be careless, and depending on how it's perceived or investigated, it may be found to be criminal. But you are likely to following too close if you're going to get affected by that. At least, that's not fair to say. You may not be responsible. It really depends on everything happening. This is why you need a dash cam. I endorse dash cams, not a specific brand, but having one, because independent information, evidence that is non-biased, the actual what happened, is the best defense. Now, sometimes it messes you up because sometimes it really confirms that you were at fault. But I'd rather be found at fault because something actually happened than someone said it happened. Catch where I'm going with this? Some people make false claims. Can I have a car halo different colors that are non-emergency? So halos are, now this is one that's a differing opinion. I don't think a halo is a projection light. I think that's an illumination glow. I don't think you're projecting that light forward. However, you're speaking to Sergeant Campbell. He says if I can see it to the front, it's obviously projecting light to the front. So headlights can only be yellow or white. I don't think a halo is a headlight. I think that's just, like I said, a glow. So you're going to find different interpretations of that law. To be safe, don't have it. And I don't know if we just lost you because we lost the lights for a second. That was part of the generator test. So far, nothing turned off. So fingers crossed. Everything's good. Okay. Whew. Okay, the stress is going to go off again. It might be a bigger switch they throw next time. All right, moving on. Continuing.
Someone wants to know if moderators are getting paid.
Moderators, big bucks, volunteer moderators are not getting paid, no. I am being paid. I'm a police officer. I'm on duty. I'm working right now. But moderators are here out of the kindness and goodness that they are. That's what they're doing. They're here helping it along because they believe in what we do. So thank you to all the moderators who are helping right now. And they don't get paid. They get paid in thanks. Many, many thanks.
Every day, multiple times a day, guys.
Yes, we say thanks a lot. Okay. So is underglow illegal if I'm parked? So underglow in itself is not illegal. However, if you install it in such a way that you're projecting light forward or back, it might be intervening. It might be considered improper headlights. It might be other issues. There's no underglow law, but it could break other rules. So if you're not driving, if you're parked, if you're on private property, underglow is, regardless how it's installed, not an issue. Bro, this man get paid to be on TikTok from tax money. You are correct. I used to get paid to run around the city and issue tickets to drivers. Now I educate thousands and actually hundreds of thousands of drivers every day because people watch our content and they got lots of views. So I can tell from the views that people are seeing what we're doing, and it is the most cost-effective way to educate a large number of people. We also speak to radio stations and television stations, and we're interviewed on a regular basis about what we do here because what we're doing is helping people. So yes, it's tax money, and it is education that we are performing and providing, and you're absolutely right.
But what's your name?
What's my name? My name, for those who are not looking at my name clearly printed on the Facebook or TikTok, I should say, screen, my name is Sean Shapiro, and I'm a police officer with the Toronto Police Service here in Ontario, Canada. And yes, I go online answering traffic and police questions Monday to Friday, usually from 10 to 11. And I do this because we are here to engage with the public and answer your questions because this is all about you. This Ask a Traffic Op gig is all about you. We want you to get the information you need to make good choices on the road, to make good choices so you don't get charged for things you didn't understand or realize were illegal, and ultimately to keep you safe and everybody else on the road. That's really our goal. Michael, VLZ, wants to know if revving an engine is illegal. Well, revving an engine is creating noise, and unnecessary noise is against the law. So revving an engine, if it was creating a great deal of noise, could be illegal, and you could be getting charged for unnecessary noise. Just revving a sewing machine, like a Honda Civic, is my favorite go-to, may not cause anyone to be upset by the noise you're creating, and it may not become an issue. So just revving it doesn't make it illegal, but creating unnecessary noise does.
Did you just call a Honda Civic a sewing machine?
Yeah, isn't that what it's called? I thought that was a technical term for it.
Oh my goodness.
Michael continues and says, this happens far too often. He says, is there a bug or random garbage? What is this? Oh, I don't know the context here, but if a bug flies into your car and distracts you and you hit somebody else, who's at fault? Unfortunately, we cannot charge insects, and as a result, you, the driver, is responsible for everything that happens with your vehicle in motion or otherwise. So, you would still get charged. There's no, oops, there was a bee. Now, I have a very good friend, Ashley, who is terrified of bees, and I've been in the car with him when a bee flew in, and I don't know if he's allergic or not, but parked the car, jumped out of the, just freaked out. That could have ended very badly. Fortunately, I've never seen it end in collision, but it was funny. I got to play this clip for him now. Ashley is now TikTok famous. Okay. Can transport trucks with rolling tarp systems drive on the road with back tarp rolled up? If they have no load that they're protecting, then I don't think that's an issue. I think it's only if they're ensuring that they have to ensure that their load is secure. That tarp is part of that. So if it's not down and their load is insecure, they could be charged. Okay. I'll come back to other stuff and things in a second on Instagram. I don't want Instagram to capitalize on all the questions. What is this? Can you consume alcohol in the back of a limo party bus? No, you cannot. You cannot have open alcohol or marijuana inside of a bus or motor vehicle. The only thing that you can consume alcohol in the back of is a parked RV, because it has an unusual magical designation where it is no longer considered a motor vehicle while it's parked for the purposes of being a home, a residence. So that's the only kind of exemption that I'm aware of. Otherwise, you could be charged for having open alcohol. When turning into two lanes and one is turning lane for the next light, what? When turning into two lanes and one is turning lane for the next light, what lane do you turn into? Okay, to make a proper turn, if you're in the curb lane, you turn into the curb lane. If you have a dual turning lane, two lanes that turn into another roadway, then each one has to turn into its respective lane. Curb lane to curb lane, middle lane to middle lane. That's it. If you move into any other lane or change lanes while you're in the midst of a turn, it would be an improper turn. Chase wants to know if you can have alcohol in the back of a boat if it's anchored. Not all boats. I'm not a boat master. I don't know anything. I'm not a boatsman. I don't know. I don't boat. I have a pleasure craft operator's license, and that I haven't been on a jet ski in 100 years. In any case, you have to have a bathroom. You have to be properly anchored. There's a bunch of conditions in order for you to be able to consume alcohol on a watercraft or boat or yacht. Okay. Is an undercover car allowed to tailgate a citizen to get them to speed move from left lane? I've heard that before. It's a really weird. We're not supposed to tailgate anybody. No one should tailgate anyone. It's a dangerous activity. If they're trying to get you out of the way and they're undercover, how would you know they're undercover? Because as soon as they identify themselves as police officers, they have lights and sirens. They should just use their lights and sirens. But anyway, I don't. Sorry?
I think the general public believes that unmarked vehicles are, or like the ones that are kind of not as reflective as the patrol units.
Subdued, so there's unmarked, but that's not undercover, because unmarked vehicles will have a police officer inside them, generally speaking, or it's a detective car. If it's an undercover vehicle, that could be a Honda Civic sewing machine, and the person inside of it looks like they're 21 and going to a rave. So.
You're driving chat nuts about the sewing machine, by the way.
Yes, I'm good. Okay. Having fun today. But yeah, the deal is that no one should be tailgating anyone else. And certainly if we're pushing you to go faster, we can't actually pull you over for going faster, if that's what you're suggesting. That would be kind of strange. It may even borderline entrapment. I don't know. But you shouldn't be speeding for anybody. Just move out of the way and let them pass you. And I mean that for if someone is tailgating you and you're choosing to let them tailgate you instead of just moving out of their way, you're engaging in some aggression, because if you think they're trying to get past you and you're ignoring their requests, just being friendly would suggest, and getting out of the way of a potentially dangerous driver, just move out of the way, let them get past you. Someone's got somewhere to go, just take a deep breath and move out of the way and let them go, because seconds of your day will be affected, and escalating that will just go bad, regardless of who's driving. But the allegation that it's a police officer doing that seems very weird. And I'm not saying you're mistaken. I can't pick it or visualize that happening, or how it would happen, or why it would happen. If I need you out of the way, I'll hit the lights and sirens. Okay. Can TTC vehicles still allowed to use HOV lanes on the DVP? Yeah, those are specifically for buses. There's signs that say who's allowed to use them, and the TTC buses, I believe, it may actually say it's only for Metrolinx for Go, but I don't recall what the sign says, because I don't use that lane. Okay. On a multi-lane road, how does a speed camera know what car is taking a pic of? I don't know. That's a program that's run by the city, so I don't know how they identify what's what. Maybe their camera computer system knows. Generally speaking, it's one vehicle crossing through the field. I don't think they're on multi-lane roads at the moment. Actually, that's not true. There's one on on Dufferin, which is multi-lane. So I don't know the answer to your question. I do not know. I know how technology, how speeding or speed measurement radar works, but I don't know how it works in the context of the automated speed camera. Okay. There's a suggestion that Q should be paid, or this viewer says Q should be paid because they're doing a great job, and they are doing a great job. Q does awesome work here and has been doing it for well over a year. How long has it been now?
A year and 4 months.
Wow. A year and 4 months. It's amazing. Can you take a right turn during a left advance? So, making a right turn on a red is a legal activity. It does not, the fact that an advance is taking place doesn't prevent you from making the right turn. However, they have the right of way, and you are obligated as that person making a right on red to ensure that you can conclude or make your right turn in safety. So if you were to make that right turn and cause a collision, you would absolutely be at fault because they had the right of way and you had to make sure that you had to complete your turn in safety. It's complete. That's the word I was looking for. Okay. In a school zone, 40 max, still a school zone if the school is torn down. If the sign is up, it's a school zone until things are changed. The fact that the school is no longer there would not change the fact that the sign was installed and the speed limit was in effect. Now, if you were saying it's a traffic safety or a community safety zone, you could argue that in court, but technically speaking, it would still be as the sign states it is, as far as I can tell. But it makes an interesting argument in court, because if you could provide evidence that that's no longer or should not be, then maybe they would reduce it. Apollo is asking a question: can a transport truck driver pull onto a highway shoulder for 5 minutes if they fight fatigue, or if they can't fight fatigue? So this is, we spoke about this yesterday. And I don't think it was you who asked the question, but pulling over because you're about to have an emergency, like you're going to cause a collision if you don't pull over, that's an emergency situation. Pull over. But if you are at the point where you can't fight fatigue anymore, it means you are driving too much or you haven't had enough sleep, and you should be making more intelligent decisions and taking the cues of fatigue well in advance, to the point, not waiting until I'm about to pass out so I have to pull over. You're a professional driver. You need to make better choices. And if you didn't sleep at night, maybe you shouldn't be driving at all. But to say that you need 5 minutes, 5 minutes is not going to reduce fatigue. It's going to make you feel better for 5 seconds, and then you're going to get back on the road again, and you are going to cause a collision in 5 more. Like it's just not there's no plan where 5 minutes rest covers for fatigue that you are so heavily succumbing to that you think it's an emergency. So you need to reevaluate the whole, or they have to reevaluate the whole. What choices led me to where I am right now, right? Can police cars stop a truck on the highway by cutting in front and braking? That sounds pretty dangerous. Can they do it? I suppose it's part of our emergency stop maneuver. If we're going to try and pull you over and you're not responding because you don't see the lights or you're too fatigued or whatever the case may be, we might put a vehicle in front and start slowing you down. Cutting you off is a really bad idea, but slowing you down, that is something that we could do. I would try and give as much space as possible. But I don't see this happening on a regular basis. If you've seen it, please let me know more information. Why do some police cars have reflective logos instead of easily visible paint? So some of our vehicles are called subdued, and they are out there doing enforcement in the community, and we are not announcing where we are. We're trying to be less visible so that we allow drivers to continue as if we weren't there, and we can catch them doing what they're doing, breaking the law. See, enforcement isn't about announcing our presence so you slow down temporarily and drive safely while we're watching. The goal is to catch you when you're breaking the law and then enforce that law by issuing a ticket, so you get the insurance hike, so you get the ticket, so you get the points. Those points add up and you lose your license. Those tickets increase your insurance, so it hurts more. And hopefully the culmination of all those things changes your behavior, teaches you a lesson. And if it doesn't, then you shouldn't be driving at all. People who break the law should lose their licenses. People who put other people's lives at risk because they're driving poorly, because they're driving aggressively, these are all choices. You can be a bad driver, but if you're making choices to be a dangerous driver, you don't deserve to be on the road. Okay. Can a police officer pull over two vehicles at the same time? Sure. policies might change. Policies may be that you should deal with one at a time. Policies might, division or service to service might change. But could we lawfully stop 2 vehicles? Sure. Akela says, greetings and salutations, playing catch up. And you caught me by surprise today. How did I catch you by surprise? Oh, by 9 o'clock. Yes, I imagine I did. Q's power went out? Like at your house? Wow. I don't think our test affected you, though. I think that was independent. School zone. This is an interesting comment by Big Jeff Fresh. School zones should be rebranded to residential areas. And in many cases, that's exactly what's happening. We have zones that are 30 kilometers, entire areas that are 30 kilometers an hour. And that's to protect the residents of those communities. And I think that's a great idea. Slower is safer. I know it really bugs people who want to cut through everybody's neighborhood to get to wherever they have to go because they didn't leave on time. But at the end of the day, leave on time. Leave yourself extra time, and you will get to where you have to go. Much safer, calmer, with a happier disposition. I like to listen to podcasts, learn languages, listen to the radio, and become aware of what's happening in my community, all before I get to work. Because when I get to work, that's my time to actually work. So all my Zen, me time is while I'm driving. That's the deal. So yeah. Leave extra time. I like to lay out my clothes for the next day. Everything's prepared. There's no guesswork at 4 o'clock in the morning when I'm getting ready. Yes, I wake up at 4 o'clock in the morning. Is it always 50-50 fault in parking lots? Parking lots being private property, nothing is always. There's always a potential where there's lots of information that provides more evidence to sway that. But generally speaking, on private property with no independent witnesses, 50-50 is just where it's going to go. And that's for pretty much for everything. And, we have physical evidence that we look at. There is sometimes video evidence. Everything depends. But more often than not, it's 50-50. And I should say that we can say whatever we want as police officers. At the end of the day, insurance companies say, thanks for giving us your opinion. We are determining that there was more fault on one driver over another, and they ultimately decide what they do. What is this? If a diabetic has low blood sugar level and they don't have something to eat and they cause collision, what would happen to them? They may or may not be charged. It's a medical episode. It really depends. Everything depends. But probably they're going to hospital by ambulance. So that would be supported by medical reports. What is this? Is there a way to report a trucking company that forces drivers to drive unfit trucks? You could probably call the MTO and do that. You could also call and report them to we have a commercial motor vehicle section. I'm sure they would love to do a spot inspection and take all the vehicles off the road. So yeah. Okay, moving on. There's a bunch of questions here, but I think we covered them all. Okay. What's the fine? What is this? Oh, scrolling back here. What if the passenger has open alcohol, not the driver? They're still breaking the law. You're not allowed to have open alcohol in a motor vehicle or conveyance of any kind, unless it's under the specific rules that we were talking about earlier about like a boat that's moored and has the appropriate equipment on board, or if it's a motorhome. Otherwise, you can't have alcohol in a vehicle, period, or marijuana. What is the fine for red light camera? And if there's no points, I don't know the fines, and I think it depends based on speed. Now, Q has started putting stuff into Twitch, and so I got to look at somewhere else. What do we have here? Can you drive around a TTC bus when it's stopped? If it's safe to change lanes and drive around them? Yeah, you're passing a stopped vehicle. It has to be safe. A TTC bus is different than drive around, like making a turn, drive around? No, you shouldn't be doing that because you'd be making an unsafe and improper turn. So you should wait until they finish servicing their stop and not make it. If you're just talking about passing them, then you're behind them and they're stopping. You can make a lane change safely. Is there a penalty for driving without a license? Yeah, it's called driving without a license, and there is a charge for that, and it comes with a dollar amount. That's assuming you're on the road. There's no charge that applies to private property for not having a license. Okay. How did you become a police officer? Well, let me tell you the story. There was a hiring freeze when I first applied, so I applied and became an auxiliary constable. That is a volunteer member of the police service. You wear a uniform, you get some training, some very basic training, and then you go out and you do community events and help people, and you don't get paid. It's a volunteer opportunity, and it might be the very best volunteer opportunity known to be available on the planet. So, what is the question? What happened next? Well, I was having so much fun that I applied to become a special constable because they were hiring those while they were not hiring police officers. So I became a special constable and continued to volunteer as an auxiliary officer. So I got involved as a special constable court officer, working as courthouse security and prisoner transportation. Years later, I then applied as a police constable and became a police constable. I worked at 12th Division originally and then transferred to traffic services when opportunities became available. And it's the best thing I ever did in my life. I love being a cop. I love helping people, and I love being paid to do it because it allows me to do more of it. Volunteering, although I did lots of it, you still have to have a job somewhere else. So that did, crimp my style. I had to do multiple things and then go and volunteer. So this has been the best thing ever. Okay. Oh, now I understand. So Q's computer was out and your Twitch was coming in by a different. I got it now. Okay. Makes all sense to me now. So ultimately, how did I become an officer? I applied. And you can too by traveling to, visiting, different than traveling, www.tps.ca/careers. We are currently hiring police officers. I believe we're hiring special constables. I believe we're hiring parking. At the end of the day, go check and all the postings will be listed, even our civilian non-uniform roles. Like we have IT people, we have mechanics, we have all sorts of folks who are doing amazing work to support police officers and make sure that we have the ability to go out and do what we do on the road. And we couldn't do that without the support of our civilians. And if you are looking for an amazing opportunity to work for an amazing organization, you should definitely check us out. www.tps.ca/careers. Okay. Can I speed if my wife is going into labor? No. There is no legal authority for you to exceed the speed limit, not by 1 kilometer legally. No. What you should do is plan ahead or call for an ambulance. Those are your two options. Plan ahead, leave well before labor kicks in because you're paying attention to when she says you want to go to the hospital or she wants to go to the hospital or things are happening. Take that as a hint that things are happening. Don't do what I do and say, are you sure? I don't think are you sure? Because that's what I did and I'm never going to live it down. In any case, I drove very slowly to the hospital because we still, even though I was not paying attention appropriately and taking my wife seriously, we still had lots and lots of time. But legally, not permitted to speed. And I'm not saying legally to say wink, wink, nudge, nudge. No, don't speed. Don't speed. Don't speed. There's no wink and a nudge here. If I pulled you over while you were running to the hospital because your wife was in labor, I would call an ambulance. I would issue you a ticket, or maybe you'd get a warning. We'll see what kind of mood I'm in. But you would not be going any further at that point. If it's an emergency, it would be by ambulance. Okay. I know so many people disagree with me on this, but it is what it is. Is parking your car in a non-parking lot a violation? Like, what's a non-parking lot? If you park your car in like someone's front lawn, it's a problem. You have to park where you're legally permitted to. Erin's not here, or I'd throw this question to her. But you can't park on somebody else's property, so what's a non-parking lot? If you make a traffic violation, is that breaking the law or just violate traffic rules? Well, traffic laws are laws. It's not just rules, it's laws. And there's charges. Now there's criminal laws and there's provincial acts, and both of them are violations, but it's a provincial offense versus a criminal offense, but it's still an offense. So what do you want to know more specifically? Okay. Why did they not ask whose bag it is when they found felonies in there? I have no idea what you're talking about. Okay, moving on. Who will get a ticket if there's an open alcohol, the driver or the person who is consuming? There's different charges for different things. If the driver was really not aware of what was happening, maybe they wouldn't be charged. But I believe drive while there's open alcohol is going to be a charge as well. So it might be the person who's consuming, it might be the person who's driving, it might be both. Depends on the individual and the situation. Do I need to inform Service Ontario about my fully vinyl wrapped car? Yes, within 6 days of making a change of color. That's significant. So it's not a pinstripe. You're changing the vehicle of your car, the description or color of your vehicle considerably. then, and I don't know if it's 50%, there's some threshold, I'm sure. 6 days reported, or it's a $110 fine when you're pulled over. And we will pull you over because when we look up your license plate and it says orange car and it's blue with polka dots, we're going to say that's not the car that it's licensed as. Thus, we'll pull you over to find out where these stolen plates came from, or was it just a situation where you forgot or didn't realize you needed to update. In any case, $110 fine. Do you have to live in Toronto to apply? What kind of work background do you need? So you don't have to live in Toronto. It used to be a rule many moons ago, but now you can live anywhere that you can reasonably attend work. Obviously, if it's a 4-hour commute, it might be a problem, but that wouldn't prevent you from applying. It just means that you might get sick of the long drive. At the end of the day, work background, everyone's taken as an individual. If you have great work experience, if you have unrelated work experience, I always say if you're an accountant, what a great opportunity to get involved later in your career in financial crimes, because you understand things that we don't. You bring a skill that is unique to the police service and that we need more of. Whatever your skill is, if you have a degree, if you don't have a degree, you're going to be coming as a package. You are going to have different skills and abilities, and you're going to be weighed as an individual. But, the more education you have, you might score higher than someone who has less education. And you want to have volunteer experience and so on. But there's no specific tick off the box, you get more points because of another, I don't think. Do I get a fine for wheeling my motorcycle? Wheeling, like doing a wheelie, that's stunt driving. Yeah, we'll take your vehicle for 14 days impound, 30-day license suspension, and then you're looking at a whole sorts of whack of things because there's no fixed fine amount. There's minimums and maximums for the first offense, and as you go, you could even be working towards a lifetime ban of your driver's license. So yeah, you can get a fine, and then you can get a whole lot more. Is it illegal to make a U-turn on a red light? It's called proceeding before green. It could be, if you didn't come to a complete stop, running a red light. You're not allowed to make a U-turn while it's red. And you have to also make sure that it's safe to do so. You're also going to have to make sure that it's not signed to prevent you from doing a U-turn, and it can't be any one of the restricted areas. Okay. Do you have to be a certain height to become a police officer? No, I don't believe they have any rules of that anymore, although once upon a time they did. Can you ride a horse in town? I don't think there's any prevention or rules against that. In fact, we have a mounted unit that does just that. So I think that if you, although I'm not up on my horseback riding rules, in London, Ontario, they ride horses and tow horse-drawn carriages, and it's a vehicle.
This person's really upset with you.
I'm sure they are. So
why won't you let us? Oh, why won't you let us have fun with our exhaust?
I didn't know that being loud and obnoxious was fun. But it's against the law, so that's why we don't let you do it. When you make noise, it's not about you. I mean, you like it, that's great, and it says, hey, look at me, I'm potentially cool. But really what it is it's waking babies that are napping. It's interfering with people who are working from home. It is not allowing night shift people to sleep. Or daytime, that's at daytime, but at nighttime it's not allowing normal people to sleep. The truth is you're impacting communities that you're rolling through, and it's not okay. And there's laws specifically in place to prevent you from doing it. So don't do it because it's against the law. And really, it's not cool. Listen, having a low rumble is cool. It sounds good. But if you have an obnoxiously loud exhaust, or you have an exhaust that's been modified to such that it's not doing what it's designed to do, it's illegal, and we'll ticket you. And you're going to see a lot more enforcement of it. So if you got time, undo what you were going to do, change your mind and don't do what you were going to do, or be prepared to have your vehicle inspected and charged on a regular basis, because that's what you're going to see.
Will having a tattoo prevent me from becoming an officer?
No, tattoos. I have a friend that I worked with the 12 Division who actually he's a dual citizen from another country. I won't out him as to which country, but he had full sleeve tattoos. He wasn't allowed to be a police officer in the country he was living in at the time, even though he was dual citizen. So he came to Canada, became a police officer here. So as long as it's not offensive content, like you can't, if it was offensive or racist or horrible, that would obviously be an issue on many, many levels, like why someone who wants to be a police officer would have that kind of stuff on their body in the first place. But if it's decorative art, we'll call it that, and it's not offensive, then it's not an issue that I'm aware of.
Here's a very thorough one. If a car has an anti-lag system installed and the car has fire out the exhaust, is it illegal to have backfire?
It depends. I say it depends because A, I don't know. I don't know enough about your vehicle and the tuning that you're discussing. It could be an issue where you have violations under the Environmental Protection Act. You should not be shooting flames out of your pipe. Like on a racetrack is one thing. On the road, you should not be shooting flames. That's a lot of unspent fuel in your exhaust. So I don't know the specific area, but I'd be phoning a friend who knows much more than me, and they would come and inspect your vehicle, and they determine whether or not you lose your license plates. So yeah, potentially a problem, but I don't know enough about it to tell you really.
Oh, I really like this one. How can I return my driver's license in Canada? I don't need to drive anymore.
Go to the MTO, give it back. Or don't renew it. That's another option. And it's an interesting question or a statement. Question statement. I could not live without my license. I really, really rely on it, which is one of the reasons why I follow the rules, because I don't want it taken away from me, because that would be bad. Okay. Bike racks blocking plates, not legal. You have to have your rear plate visible and legible. And if you block it, that's against the law, $110 fine. And there's no exemption for bicycle racks and exercise and being active in your community. No, not allowed. Can I repair my license plates on my own using the same shade of blue? No, you cannot. Take it to the ministry, get it replaced. You cannot deface or alter your license plate. It's actually arrestable. You can be arrested for doing stuff like that. Not that you necessarily would be, but it is part of the deal that we can arrest you if you're modifying, or like some people bend their license plate. Yeah, you can be arrested. You're modifying or defacing your plate.
Why?
Why what?
Why bend it? I've never seen that.
Oh, people fold them so they look cooler. Like they have a thin bumper in the front and they fold the Ontario back, and so it's just a number, and they go, well, but you can read the number. Yeah, no, not legal. People do really silly things, and some of them are very, they're trying to do the right thing. They're trying to do something. They think they're being legal. They're just trying to look cool while being legal, and they don't realize that they're doing something really not legal.
Okay, I lied. I did see that. I thought you were talking about like the vertical bend and not like the horizontal bend.
You mean like bend in half like a sandwich?
Yes.
I could see that being problematic. Okay. Can a cop blast through a red light with no lights and sirens? Blast through. So requirements of a police officer, fire vehicle, or an ambulance is that we must come to a complete stop and only proceed through an intersection after making that complete stop and ensuring it's safe to do so. Because when we blast through, it's against the law and we're liable for what we're doing. And even if we cause the collision, we're liable. Lights or no lights, we're liable. So no, they can't do that. Now, I don't know where you are, because I'm talking about Ontario. Maybe there are places where they can do that. I'm just not aware of that. Can I put a dresser on the roof of the car in Ontario? Like just to drive around because you like the way it looks, or you're actually just transporting stuff? If you are able to secure that load to the roof of your vehicle, there's no dresser on roof law. It's about insecure load. So if you put it there and it's not secure and you're not using rated straps and the vehicle is not, and you can't secure it to the point where it's not going anywhere, you'd be charged. If you put it in the back of a truck and it's not secured, you're going to be charged. Now, I wouldn't put it on the roof of my car. I don't know what kind of car you have, but I like my car, and I like the paint, and I like all sorts of things about it, like that it gets me from point A to point B without rusting till it falls apart. What you're suggesting could potentially result in a lot of damage to the vehicle. Never mind, that's even if it just stays on your roof. I would sooner rent a vehicle for a short run, like the 1999 Home Depot half an hour deal, or pay someone to move it or have it delivered, because at the end of the day, the risk is far too high for something going wrong. And you may, while strapping something to the roof of your vehicle, destroy it and your car. Oh my God. Okay. I work in a group home with mentally challenged individuals and have met any TPS officers who did the same work. I'm sorry, I'm not understanding your question. I'm not sure what you're asking me.
Many officers who do the same work.
But which
community outreach?
Oh, okay. Gotcha. I've met many officers who have done. So you mean they volunteer in a home, or they do side gig working in a group home? Is that what you mean? Okay. Jeremy says private citizens can't ride horses in the city of Toronto. Oh, interesting. Jeremy researched the bylaws. So apparently you can't. So I guess it's city by city. I didn't know that. I've yet to pull over a horse. Frankly, I've never seen a horse that isn't a Toronto police horse. Oh, they have done prior work? Yes. Sorry, Jeremy has got a bunch of things going on here. So yes, many people come from working in group homes, jails, all sorts of things, and then later become police officers. And it's a great not prerequisite, but pre-employment background experience. Yeah. But But that's good to know. I now know, and Jeremy has taught me something because I did not know. I'm now going to go look up the bylaws for City of Toronto knowing about horses. But like London, Ontario, Elmer, Ontario, horses, there's parking stalls at the local stores for horse and buggy. Stuff that is cool. Hello, officer. Does a clear license plate cover constitute a ticket? Yes. A cover of any kind, or even license plate frame that says, the dealership you bought your car from, technically is illegal. What is this? We talked about that. Can I drive my licensed ATV on the road? It's plated and insured. There are rules, and certain communities do allow certain things as long as you're following the rules. Like it has to be on the shoulder, up to 50 kilometers an hour, I think. City of Toronto has a rule that says, thou shall not ride off-road vehicles on the road. That's not necessarily the wording, but it's illegal to ride them in Toronto. Dirt bikes are not permitted anywhere. How does G2 driving work in the States? Well, G2 is a probationary license. So you have conditions, and as long as you're following those conditions, you can drive interprovincially and into the United States with your G2. But you have to follow all the rules, 0 blood alcohol content, and so on. Okay. How do you keep up with all the call for service volume? Toronto must be a never-ending uphill battle. We do what we can do. It's one call at a time. Priorities could end up escalating, but we do need more officers, which reminds me, or suggests I should mention now that we are hiring, and if you'd like to become a police officer in the City of Toronto, then you should apply. And you can do that by going to www.tps.ca/careers. I just realized now we've only had the one power failure and one alarm, and we're still here. So that's pretty cool. I'm pretty excited.
One power failure.
We had mine? No, mine. I had power. Our power went out for like a blip, but because we're all battery powered, I'm running purely laptops here. Somehow we didn't lose network connection and we just kept on trucking. Okay. Do you have to return plates that are not in use anymore? I don't think you have to return them. I have plates from the early 80s-ish, and I have them, and they're registered to me, and they're mine. And they technically belong to the ministry, but at some point, if I could return them, and they don't give you any money back that I'm aware of, so I plan on using them for a future vehicle. I actually have some really awesome, pristine, old plates that are so much better than the peeling, not so wonderful quality stuff of today. I want to use those. I keep looking at them. I have them stored at home, and they look so good. It's like my first car. I just kept them, and I'm going to use them. And this discussion has suggested that should happen sooner rather than later now. I've been putting it off. Do I peel my old sticker on my plate because we don't use them anymore? You can. And if you're traveling to the States, I would. Because when an officer who is not necessarily aware of what the rules are in Ontario sees an expired sticker, that is called a clue that they should pull you over and investigate you. So I take them off. Are you allowed to have your plate in your front windshield? No. Because what happens is we pull you over. It's not only dangerous, but it's illegal. The rules say it has to be in the front of the vehicle in a conspicuous place, aka very clearly seen. And if a license plate frame or cover is against the law, the windshield's against the law too. So it says front of vehicle, not middle of vehicle, which is usually where the windshield is. Granted, not middle. It's like 40% in. That's where depending on if it's what the design is of the windshield slant. In any case, how do I know if I got demerit points? You could contact the ministry. You could order a report. You could find out what you have. If you get pulled over, we'd be able to tell you. Don't get pulled over just so you can find out that's bad. Okay. My dad passed away. Do I have to notify the Ministry of Transportation to return his license? Very sorry for your father's passing. Do you have to return the license? I don't think there's an obligation to take it in. You can destroy it. You can. I think I've got an old expired one from my mom. At the end of the day, I don't think there's a tremendous amount of concern there. In terms of if you own the vehicle, you as or whomever the executor of the estate would then be able to deal with transferring the vehicle out of his name into someone else's. Okay. I have a question. Can you make a left turn from one-way street to another one-way street in downtown? Yes. If you are traveling on a one-way street to another one-way street, you are allowed to make a left turn on a red light, presuming there's no sign preventing it and that you came to a complete stop on a red. Yeah. Chase says, apparently there's a Horse Riding Safety Act. Why are you giving me homework to read more stuff? Really? A Horse Riding Safety Act? Come on. Now, the question is, do I have it available to me in my app? Horse. Let's see. Highway traffic. I don't have it here. So it must live somewhere else. I don't have it in my police library of acts and, criminal code and so on. All right. Are tinting back headlights illegal? Well, first of all, there's no such thing as a back headlight. Headlights are in the front. Taillights are in the back. But tinting your taillights, there are rules as to how much light must be produced and how effective or discernible at what particular distance your taillights need to be. But aside from that, let's just talk about logically. If you make your taillights less effective and you get rear-ended and we investigate and the insurance company looks at it and says, hey, they don't work the way they're supposed to or they're being modified, you're going to take on some responsibility you may not have had prior. Now, some guy who thinks he's funnier than he is, but he is sometimes funny, commented once on a video that I put up on TikTok discussing taillights. And he says, you can tint them all you want. You know, if you have a wattage that's 60, you just put 100 and that compensates. And maybe. But why? Why go? Your car doesn't need to be tinted in the back. It's like the worst place for you to do customization, in my opinion. Because, again, we look for clues, and then those clues go into the reports, and then insurance companies determine whether or not they want to pay you after a collision when you were rear-ended. And if you had not tinted it, you might not be responsible as much as you are when we look at it and go, he's more responsible because, look, he tinted it and he caused it and he contributed. Even if it's like this much, someone's going to look at it and it's going to change how your payout goes, is my opinion. Okay. Will the same law that applies to exhaust apply to loud bass woofers? Unnecessary noise could be created through your horn, your stereo, any sound-making device on your vehicle, and your exhaust, whether it be defect or behavior-based. So yes, if you have your woofers and it's rattling your vehicle to the point where the bolts are slowly loosening and people feel it in their chest and hair is flying everywhere. I've seen some amazing videos. Vehicles I want to be nowhere near, but on TikTok I can watch them and appreciate that they have gone to extreme lengths to be over the top. I give them credit for that. But I totally ticket the crap out of them if they were doing that on the street. I don't even think you could see out the rearview mirror. Like it's just vibrating horribly. It's insane. But yeah, so you can get a ticket for that. Sleep apnea creates a condition that will fail medical pass for getting a truck. Is sleep apnea a condition that will? I don't know. I don't know about the medical requirements for driving a commercial vehicle, and I don't know if I think if you're not using a what do you call those machines? The sleep apnea machines, the CPAP machines. If you're not using that device, you will probably fail or not be allowed. But that's me making an assumption, because you're. I think once if you're diagnosed with sleep apnea and you don't get the CPAP, I think you lose your license on a medical suspension. I think. On a motor vehicle collision report, what's the code box before driver's name mean? As well as code 97, 98, 9. Okay, so I haven't looked at one of these in a long time, but those codes relate to a list of things, and when you put the codes in, it relates to, was it that beside the name? I don't even know what that one is, but it talks about what kind of vehicle it is, what kind of intersection you were crossing when the collision occurred. So those code boxes relate to all sorts of things. But it's all more information, and it's all used by the ministry. So it's just ways of, I think it used to go through a scanner of some kind, and you'd fill them in. I don't remember what those particular codes are, though. But it is a good question, and you brought back a wave of memories, because I haven't even looked at a motor vehicle collision report in some time. I used to make them out every day. Okay.
If I get pulled over on the highway and I don't feel safe to stop, can I signal to pull off at the next exit?
You are required to pull over immediately and safely to the nearest edge or edge of roadway or curb. You're not allowed to shop for parking. So if you are, you need to pull over when you're being pulled over, or you're at that point escalating things to a pursuit. It may not be you pursuing it. It may be totally reasonable, but what you should do, because we're pulling you over and we are taking into consideration safety. We've got big lights, flashing lights on our car. We are going to position our vehicle in a way to block to make it safe. We want to make it safe for us too. But don't ignore the lights and sirens. Pull over. Tell the officer that you have some concerns for your safety. Would you mind if you relocated? I've had that situation. I've taken their license, ownership, and insurance, and I've said, okay, pull off and I will follow you. Totally reasonable, but stop first. Then make that communication.
Can I pull to the left, though?
Why would you want to? If the only time left is a good thing is if you were in a situation where you're on the highway, it's bumper to bumper traffic, and you have to part the C's. There's a shoulder on either side. If we're pulling you over for an offense, we will likely direct you by hand signal to go to the other side. It is technically either curb or edge of roadway, but that only works with a multi-lane highway where it's divided. If it's undivided, the center lane is not a place you can stop. So there's the answer. I would always opt for the right-hand side, the curb lane, unless it was a situation where it was not feasible because it was traffic, going everywhere or it was gridlock. So it really depends. But yeah.
Here's one. What if I'm driving a right-hand drive car or vehicle? Do I need to have a sticker to show that it's a right-hand drive?
The sticker is only required, or the placard is only required if your vehicle does not have electronic functioning signals on the vehicle. So if you're relying on hand signals, then the driver behind you needs the placard to know to look in the passenger side for those hand signals instead of the driver's side. If your signals work on your vehicle, then you don't need that placard. Cool, huh? I used to see the placard all the time because it was always classic vehicles that were right-hand drive, but there's been a resurgence of right-hand vehicles being imported after they're 15 years old.
I need to clip this because apparently some mechanics have been telling their right-hand drive vehicles that they have to have it to let the officers know that they're on the right side of the vehicle and not the left.
No, we're pretty good at making observations, and more often than not, we want to go to the right-hand side of the vehicle anyway. It's called the passenger side approach for safety, to be away from the highway. It's just safer. Hi, what do they look for in an interview for PEO? I don't know because I've never done the PEO interview. I assume very much the same things. Why do you want to be a parking enforcement officer? How much do you know? What kind of history? How do you deal with situations? The behavioral events style interview. But I don't know the details, what they look for specifically for that position. But you know who does? Our employment unit. Check out www.tps.ca/careers. Make an appointment, send an email, ask the question to a recruiter. They are happy to give you answers. Okay. Talked about that. What do we got here?
Can you get charged under the HTA as a cyclist without a license?
Yes. You can, because a cyclist is still operating a vehicle on the road, and we can issue tickets to people who don't have driver's licenses for that very reason. What will happen is if you don't have a driver's license, you've never been issued one, that one will be generated for you. It's a unique, regardless if you applied for a license or not, the same number would apply. And then you don't get points attributed to offenses committed while on a bicycle, though. And if you do by accident, you can apply to have them removed because they shouldn't have been applied. How much is the ticket for having a radar detector? $170 and 2 demerit points. We have search and seizure authority, so if we believe you have one, we can pull you over. We can search your vehicle looking for it if you are not forthright showing up and handing it over, because we do take it, and that includes also jammers. And when people say, I don't have it, or they put it on their person in their pocket and they're like, you can't search me, we can't search you. You and anybody in the vehicle as well as the entire vehicle looking for it. Okay. Can TPS pull me over on the highway? Yes, we can. We're police officers in the province of Ontario, and the entire province of Ontario allows us to operate as police. Now, we are not looking for traffic enforcement opportunities, north of the city. We might be on a project. We might have a reason to be there. Chances are we're only doing enforcement in our area unless we're there for a specific reason. But still, the authority is there. Now, if we're too far away from the city, we'll probably phone a friend from a local police service and have them come over and issue the ticket, and we just provide evidence to support that ticket. But can we pull you over? Yeah, we have the authority to. Can I tint my front windshield? No, you cannot. Ontario is not legal to tint a front windshield at all. The only exemption is that if you have a vehicle manufactured before January 1st, 2017, then you can have a 3-inch tint strip, 3 inches, 75 millimeters from the top of the windshield down. That's it. I'm wanting to become a park warden with Parks Canada. They require 2 years experience of being an armed peace officer. Really? Do you know any good job that experience without having to join a police service? I'm not aware of that. And a friend of mine just left Parks as a warden and has become a different kind of officer, a police officer. But I don't know. I'd have to reach out to them and find out how they would do that, because I don't know where you can be an armed peace officer without being a police officer or park warden. There's not a long list of jobs that are police jobs that aren't police jobs. Can you have a speaker on a bicycle, like a stereo? Yeah, there's no law preventing it. Unnecessary noise, I don't even think applies to a bicycle. Okay, Crystal says, sorry to bother you. My daughter is special needs, and she says hello. She's been watching with me today. Well, hello, Crystal's daughter, of whose name I do not know, but thanks for watching. Will the same noise law that applies to noise? Okay, it's noise. It's not noise. It's noise. Will the same noise law that applies to exhaust apply to loud bass subwoofers? We already covered that. Okay, I'm duplicating. All right. Hey, why are the tinted license plate covers illegal, but they sell them at Canadian Tire? Things that are for sale don't necessarily mean they are illegal. And it's not that they're illegal to possess, they're illegal to use on your motor vehicle while operating on a highway. So if you wanted to take it to a car show and plop your plate covers on and take them off before you drove away, legal. Just can't use them while you're driving. A lot of things that they sell, say for off-road use only. And they may be available for sale in other jurisdictions outside of Ontario, right? The laws here are different than the laws in Quebec, different than the laws in Alberta. And it's usually the equipment laws that change the most. Okay. Covered that. Covered that. All right. Brittany, it's Brittany. Hi, Brittany.
Can you lose demerit points on a bicycle?
No, you can't. We just said that. You know, the penalty points for breaking the law, the Highway Traffic Act laws, if you break those, even if there were points for the same charge in a motor vehicle. Oh, we're going to have another generator switch. We're probably going to end the stream before that happens because I bet you that's going to knock us right out. Okay. Does my child need a helmet while riding in a tow behind a bike carrier trailer? Riding on a bicycle, they do need a helmet. I would want them in a helmet anyway. But do they need one? I'm going to say yes to be safe, but I don't actually know. I have to look it up. Are they on a bicycle when they're in a trailer? I don't know. Okay, before we lose the connection and I don't get to say goodbye, I'm going to say goodbye. We'll be back tomorrow. Tomorrow's Friday. Maybe we're not going to be back tomorrow. Wait, check out our socials. Check out Traffic Services on Twitter for a notification if we're going to go live. If you're on our trafficcop.ca community in Volley, you'll know because I'll put an announcement there. You can see in any of the platforms when I book it because it'll notify you. But I'll let you know. I'm going to see if tomorrow's going to work out. In any case, have a wonderful day.
Someone?
Yeah, who am I saying hi to?
Lorenzo. He's 6 years old.
Lorenzo's 6 years old and he's watching us. Hi, Lorenzo. Hope you're doing well. Hope you're enjoying the summer. And if you're 6, you should be enjoying every day because that's the best part about being 6. Awesome. Jeremy wants to know if a court officer is a peace officer. Yes, a court officer is a special constable with expanded powers of arrest while they're working. So yes. And sheriff's office has peace officers. I think they're listen. A peace officer, a mayor, when being a mayor is a peace officer in certain scenarios. But they were talking about armed. But that's cool. For everyone who's participated and hung out with us today, thank you very much. It's been a pleasure. If you don't follow us, please do, because we'd love to have you join our family of followers on whichever platform. And please share our content and like and subscribe and all that jazz that people say to try and drive numbers. We don't need to have the numbers, but we do want you to come back another time and spend more time with us, and that's why we say it. Not because we're going to make money because you fought. We don't make money at this. All right, I'm out. I'm playing music as we go out.
Helps the traffic flow. Watch for pedestrians, look out for bikes, and don't drive like a jerk that no one likes. Yellow light, red light, green light, go. Driving safely is the way to go. Put down your cell phone, nobody needs you to text and drive on the DVP. Yellow light, red light, green light, go. Stop at stop signs, look both ways, then go. Seatbelt, save your life indeed. And watch your driving, don't speed. Yellow light, red light, green light, go. Driving safely is the way to go. Don't drink and drive or smoke some weed, because you might go to jail and not get free. Yellow light, red light, green light, go. Driving safely helps the traffic flow.
That song never gets old to me. I absolutely love it, and I hope you do too. I don't know if it's going platinum, but I'm crossing fingers. All right, be well. We'll see you when we see you next. I'll update as soon as I know for sure if we're going live tomorrow.
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0.